Recent news says that the San Jose Sharks are probably targeting Will Smith at number 4. So that leaves the Montreal Canadiens in a bit of limbo with a bunch of choices available, but namely Matvei Michkov. But this same source that says the Sharks might take Will Smith say the Habs have no interest in taking Michkov. We'll be diving into this whole draft situation, plus a little bit of extra news as to a potential Habs target on right D that I think could be really interesting. So without further ado, let's get right into today's news. And the first thing I want to talk about is, well, actually, we'll start with this. Could the Sharks take Will Smith? We'll get into the Habs and Reinbacher and Leonard in a second, but the first thing I want to talk about is the Sharks taking Will Smith, and it's a league source. Again, it's just a rumor. This was posted on San Jose Hockey Now. A league source shared this bit of San Jose Sharks draft combine buzz. Quote, rumor is Will Smith is flying to San Jose for a tour. He sounds like the Sharks guy. Now take this with a grain of salt. I trust my source or I wouldn't have shared his text, but he's just passing on what he's heard. Remember, it's a rumor. So that's really interesting. Will Smith is someone we thought Columbus was going to be taking at 3, but in this article it actually states that the league consensus now is Connor Bedard at number 1 to Chicago. Number 2 is going to be Adam Fantilli to the Ducks. Number 3 is going to be Leo Carlsson to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And that leaves the Sharks with the choice of pretty much whoever they want that's left at number 4. And it really seems like they're going after Will Smith, at least according to this league source. Now, again, the poster on San Jose Hockey Now, which is a reputable website, trusts their source, and it could be legit. Maybe Will Smith is going to San Jose. I feel like that's something that's maybe not easy to fake, or maybe, I feel like you wouldn't just fake that kind of news. So first of all, the first thing I want to say is that pretty much gets rid of any Will Smith dreams to Montreal, but I think a lot of Habs fans have kind of come to peace with the fact that Will Smith was probably going to be gone before the Habs pick at 5th overall anyway. But again, that leaves the Habs in a bit of limbo, because Matvei Michkov is still available at number 5, but this same source said, number 1, that he really doesn't think that the Habs have any interest in Matvei Michkov, which I think is interesting. And that sentiment seems to be echoed league-wide. Now, I don't know about Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton and whether or not they're running a tight ship. Seems like maybe not, because there were some people who had inside information about Slafkovsky last season at number 1. Of course, we heard some details of the Caufield contract leaked a few days before it happened, so maybe they're not running the tightest of ships in the world. I mean, it is pretty tight. We don't hear a ton of details. Again, we heard nothing about the Caufield extension until, I guess, a day before from Tony Marinaro. But at the same time, could this have some truth to it? And if it does, could the Habs take Reinbacher or Leonard? And I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. This same source posted this. This is later in the article. Where does that leave the polarizing Michkov or fast-rising defenseman Reinbacher? Well, according to this same source that said that the Sharks are flying out Will Smith and seems like he's their guy, the Montreal Canadiens with the 5th overall pick might have a surprise up their sleeve. Quote, sounds like it's Reinbacher or Leonard from Montreal. Now, look, we've discussed Reinbacher a lot on this channel, and there's other videos out there saying why or why not he might be a good fit for Montreal. Like, yes, he's a right D, but that's a need that they can fill in other ways, and I'm actually going to get into that in the next section of the video. I think you guys will like that a lot. But on the topic of Reinbacher, as Jesse's mentioned many times, I feel like in a draft with so much forward depth, taking a defenseman top 5 is a little bit of a risk, because if you're taking a defenseman top 5, you want them to be a top pairing guy. And we've seen a lot, like fast risers at the draft. Sometimes they pay off big time. Sometimes they don't really. I mean, these guys that in the last few months leading up to the draft shoot up from like the 20s up into the top 10. I mean, we saw it with Gabe Perreault this year. We saw it with Slafkovsky last year, who I still think will be amazing. So that might be a case of a good example. But David Reinbacher, especially as a defenseman, it's like you can't really afford to make a mistake in a draft like this with Montreal, kind of trying to come out of a rebuild in the next 2 years. So let's take a look at a little bit closer at Ryan Leonard, this other guy that the Habs could seemingly take. Again, it seems to be Leonard or Reinbacher, according to this source. And we've talked a bit about Ryan Leonard as well, but the big thing with Ryan Leonard is that he's a big guy, and that sure fits the Habs with the likes of Kirby, Dach, Josh Anderson, Juraj Slafkovsky, not to mention some of their large defensemen like Arber, Xhekaj, and even Cayden, Guhle to some extent. Ryan Leonard is a big body, and he has a knack for scoring the puck. I mean, you just look at that in the under-17 team, 10 goals in 26 games, 16 and 36. But the big thing with the national under-18 team, 51 goals, 94 points in just 57 games. He had 8 goals, 17 points in the under-18A tournament this year. He has just been completely phenomenal. Like, he's been dominant. I don't want to say on both ends of the ice. His defense has not been bad, though. Again, he's big, and he's not afraid to lay the body, though I wouldn't say Ryan Leonard's out there dropping massive hits left and right, but he definitely can, and he knows how to use his body well, which is a skill that will translate very well. But a guy with a great goal-scoring touch who is a big body is kind of hard to find at the NHL level. But again, when I say that, I feel like we say that all the time, right? We look at someone like Josh Anderson, who's a 20-plus goal scorer, but a lot of people would say that he probably isn't living up to his contract. So would Ryan Leonard just be another one of these guys? Because there's not a ton of those guys in the NHL that are big with goal scoring that truly turn out to be stars. But maybe Ryan Leonard could be the next one. Like, I feel better about Ryan Leonard at number 5 than David Reinbacher. I think they're both probably worthy of the number 5 pick, but I would feel more comfortable with Leonard. And I know a lot of you guys are probably saying someone like Zach Benson. If Michkov is completely off the table, Zach Benson looks like he's probably overall maybe a better prospect just skill-wise than Ryan Leonard. But again, the size kind of shoots you up a bit. But the NHL is transitioning sort of away from size into a more skilled game. I don't really know. Let me know down below what you guys think about the Ryan Leonard versus David Reinbacher or even versus Zach Benson debate, because it's a very interesting one to me, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. So let's talk about our final topic today. And yeah, this is the interesting one. Could the Habs trade for Adam Boqvist? Well, Marco D'Amico put out a great article, and Marco D'Amico, unfortunately, is actually leaving Montreal Hockey now, and I don't know when it is. I think it's in just a few days, but shout out to him. He has put out some amazing articles. We share a lot of his stuff in this channel because of just how good a journalist he is, so big thank you to him. But he mentions Adam Boqvist and Columbus' situation. He said it's a perfect storm in Columbus as Juraj looks primed to take a roster spot this fall, which makes sense. Juraj is one of the best prospects in the NHL, quite frankly, which can make a player like Adam Boqvist expendable. After a flurry of moves, the Blue Jackets now only have just under $6 million in cap space, and they want to maximize that space to fill out their most dire need at center, because they're really not that deep at center, right? Like, Boone Jenner plays a lot of center for them, and he's good, but, you know, come on, like, he's really not going to be that guy who's going to be your star center going forward. Moving a player like Boqvist, who's on a $2.6 million contract over the next 2 seasons, could help give them further flexibility in moves while also making room for a player like Juraj, because if you guys think, the Blue Jackets just traded for Provorov, another defenseman, to fill out one of these top 6 defenseman roles. And they also just went out and signed, well, I guess it was technically a sign-in trade for Damon Severson coming over from New Jersey. So and David Juraj is, again, an amazing prospect. So they're currently stacking up their D-core, and they have Adam Boqvist, who very well could be relegated to like a bottom 6 role on D as just a young defenseman. Seems like almost like a waste, right? And at a $2.6 million cap hit, if you're Columbus and you really do want to contend in the next few years, which I'm not sure if they do, it's kind of a weird situation, right? They have Patrick Laine, they have Johnny Gaudreau, they just got Provorov, they have Werenski, who's not getting any younger, they got Severson, who's going to be 30 in a couple of years, but at the same time, they have a really good pick this year, so what are they going to do? Well, where is it? There it is, that's the one, Adam Boqvist. Let's take a look at Adam Boqvist, because Adam Boqvist is only 22, he'll turn 23 in about a month and a half, or I guess 2 months from now, 2 months from now. But, I mean, he's a solid scoring defenseman. He had 11 goals in 52 games in 21-22, 5 goals in 46 games last year, but he upped his assist numbers. He's a very solid player. He's definitely not super poor defensively either. He can put up some points for you. He's going to be solid on the defensive end. He's 22 years old with a ton of room to grow, 6 foot, 182 pounds. I think Adam Boqvist has a lot of potential to be a long-term top 4 NHL defenseman, but he needs to be in the right situation. And if Marco D'Amico's right and Columbus is really stacking up on these defensemen and they need to move someone like Boqvist to maybe go sign a bigger name center to fill out their roster in places where they need players more, like, because on defense they seem to have it at least figured out for the next few years. We'll see how these guys turn out, but at the same time, Boqvist might be out of a spot. So could that be something Montreal trades for? I mean, I think Montreal could trade a couple of future picks, plus maybe one of their young defensemen if they want to. But again, if Columbus doesn't want to, I don't know. I don't think Montreal really has any centers that Columbus is going to be interested in. At least no one that Montreal would be willing to trade for Adam Boqvist. But a few future first-round picks definitely could go a long way, as they're getting something for Adam Boqvist, who, again, like I said, will probably be in a bottom 4 role on defense. So very, very interesting proposition. And again, let me know what you guys think of Adam Boqvist as a potential trade target for Montreal, as sort of a Kirby Dach-esque trade, right? Another similar trade for a young player on a team that kind of doesn't really need him in the moment. They're kind of going a different direction. So I think it could be awesome, and I think you guys will share that sentiment. But that'll do it for this news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 6,000 subs. We're very close, so hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm your host, Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next one.